My guest Prathima Manohar is an architect with an interest in making better urban spaces. She is founder of the Urban Vision, which is a think tank on livable and inclusive cities. She has experience and interest in travel and hospitality and co-founded PlaceXplore. She is an active member of Placemaking India Network and a leader at PlacemakingX. Let's know more about her today. Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. I am Asban Sari, the founder of the organization Peacemakers Pakistani, and I'm bringing you the stories of placemakers, artists, and professionals from around the globe about how they created an impact and made change happen. You are listening to the Making It Happen show. Thank you for joining in. Enjoy the episode.
Hello, Prathima. So good to see you. Thank you for joining me today and Happy New Year.
Hi, Azza. Lovely to see you and Happy New Year to you as well. And, it feels so nice to talk to you from across the border.
Yeah, same here. I was looking forward to this interview. I wanted to do it last year as well, but due to some reasons I couldn't. But now I'm so happy that we are talking and we are talking face to face now. Okay, so let's start with the questions so that I can learn from you about you and a lot of things that we can exchange with each other. Okay. So the first question I always ask for people is how did you find your passion for placemaking, public spaces, and urban planning?
Um, I trained as an architect and I've had a life as a journalist. While I was in architecture school, I used to write about, the city and the built environment. And um, in the the early part of this millennium, cities and urbanization was probably one of the biggest trends of our century. And there was a lot of conversations on how cities are a problem, and there was very few on how cities are a solution. And when I founded the Urban Vision, it was to kind of highlight some of those ideas and how we can actually make cities work for us, to enable a more sustainable, happy, healthy society. And the placemaking practice started because it's really one of the easiest way to transform cities. Uh, if we started any development thinking about people and the community that is around them, and we were sensitive to the needs of the community, um, it would be the fundamental building block to a more healthy, inclusive, sustainable city. Um, and I love placemaking also because it's almost, uh, like enabling citizens and citizenship to contribute to building a better place. And it was my interest in placemaking actually started with my interest in cities. And placemaking offers everyone, whether you're a citizen, um, or you're a practitioner or you're a politician, it gives you a framework to really deliver on the agenda of livability and health and fun for your community. And I love that. I love the whole actionable part of um, placemaking, because when you look at the problem of cities, it's so huge. It almost feels impossible to make some of those agendas happen. So in a way, placemaking is getting things done and making it happen.
Yes, it is making it happen. Okay, so I didn't know that you were an architect. I thought you did your urban planning, your bachelor's in urban planning, but this is a connecting factor in both of us. Like I am an architect as well, and my inclination was towards urban design and urban planning because of the city level development and how it plays a major role in making cities or making a community better for people. So it's great to know from you that you're an architect as well. Okay, so what are the challenges? What were the challenges in establishing placemaking India? You are part of it, right? Placemaking
Yes,
India
I
Network?
am. Yes, I am part of Placemaking India. It's you know, like with other placemaking movements around the world, it's just it started as a need to convene the community of placemakers within the country. Um, we are still starting up. Right before this, we had a discussion on what we should be doing as a group, and I think there's a long way to go. I think we had a great placemaking week last month in my home, like native place, which is where my grandparents are from, and in Udupi. We had about 80 placemakers from around the country and around the world who showed up here, and it was for me just so amazing to meet the community who are doing such diversity of work within placemaking. Um, so we are still starting up, and I think it's going to be fun. There's a amazing group of people who are part of the community, and there's a lot of energy. And I think placemakers can really play a role in enabling the conversation towards people-centric cities, which we really, really need because uh, urban development and urbanism has become too much about just hard, big infrastructure. And, placemakers can connect the dots towards people, local identity, culture, um, connect to the local traditional knowledge from those communities and, really build unique, authentic places.
Yeah, great. And yes, it was a great hit. We are going to talk about the Placemaking India Week as well because I was looking through the pictures. I wish I was there too. But it's amazing to know that 80 placemakers were there. So awesome. Okay. And also, I really appreciate that you are being honest with that. That it's okay. So I've been saying the network for past 2 3 years. It has been more than 2 3 years, I guess. And you're still saying that we are just in the process of establishing it. I really appreciate that. And yes, the placemakers are here to connect the dots, and I hope that we achieve that goal because, like Pakistan, India is also a big country, and there's a lot of things that need to be done. And yeah, okay. So, what are the challenges and opportunities that you face in public spaces in India?
I think a lot of contemporary urban development um, misses the context of the place. It misses being sensitive to the local communities and people using these spaces. Like with other, developing world cities, most Indian cities are also battling this whole, uh, autocentric model of urban development where cities are investing so much into car-centric places instead of people-centric places. So mobility is a big challenge. So unless that reverses on the head and we start seeing mobility which is more non-motorized and which is more mass transit oriented, we will find it challenging to build more inclusive, safe, uh, as well as vibrant public spaces. You know, most of our cities, whether in the subcontinent, historically were thriving places. They were places for socializing, they were places for commerce, um, they were places where you felt safe to go out as a kid and play on the street. Um, the 21st century development, unfortunately, has been so obsessed with the car um, that we've forgotten to build those places. And I think for me, the placemaking movement is bringing that voice into the development model. Trying to make people at the heart of the place, trying to make the local culture and knowledge and local community at the heart of development.
All right. And how has it been so far? Like, was it easy to do? I think so. That it must be difficult. But how is the experience, and how people are responding to it?
So, I didn't know I was practicing placemaking when I was practicing placemaking.
Okay.
Like we were trying to do uh, jugaad stuff in our communities to make them, more safer, more fun, more social. I play. I think placemaking and project for public spaces with Ethan and Fred Kent's
Mhm.
framework really kind of empowered, saying we empowered a lot of the early kind of participants of the placemaking movement, that this is a good way to look at this framework. And um yeah, I think we've done a lot of experiments at the Urban Vision. We've actually had the opportunity to work with city government, with political leadership, with business leadership. We've got big development um, companies to set up a placemaking budget within their communities. So any development they do embraces the public space and streets. Uh, I think I am ready for the next, generation of placemaking in India within our organization, because I think I would like to see this scale up. We've done quite a lot of interventions, especially in Mumbai, uh, some in Bangalore and the smaller towns. Um, but I think it's time to figure out ways to unleash the agenda and approach of placemaking. Uh, and I look forward to doing that in the next decade by, even empowering and enabling the placemaking community uh, in our region.
Great, and good luck for that. It was lovely knowing about all your experimentation and your lessons, of course. And yes, I have been doing things as well. I was doing my thesis while I was inclining towards like this approach of getting people involved, and it was not being approved. And when I found that it's a movement, and yes, it got the recognition as well by my teachers, and because at a thesis level things are different. So yeah, it was empowering, and it has been empowering even now, like connecting with the people around the globe. That's amazing too. Okay, so tell me about the Placemaking India event. Share the lessons or highlights from it, because I just love the pictures. I love the progress, and I want to know about your role in it as well. I'm very interested in it.
It was amazing to participate and in a way contribute to Placemaking Week India, which took place in the twin coastal cities of Udupi and Mangalore in the south of India. Like I mentioned, we had over 70 to 80 participants, not just from India and Southeast Asia. We had representation from Nepal, Bangladesh, Malaysia. We also had some of the global placemaking leaders from the US, including Ethan Kent and Ryan Smaller from the US. We had the regional leader from Placemaking Mexico, and a couple of leaders from Placemaking Europe as well. So it was the convening of the global placemaking community as well. And I think with we are starting off with the placemaking weeks in India. So there was uh, there was a lot of, it was a mix of just even learning about what the amazing community of placemakers are doing within the country, and just kind of hearing their experiments and innovations. We did manage to get around the place we were hosted in, which was in Bangalore and Udupi. So we ended up exploring some of the main places and some new development projects that are taking place in these districts. Um, and I think it was a good place to also, uh, absorb and reflect within the community on what we want to do over the next decade, and why, place, community, and people-centric development should be an agenda that we should all scale up on. And I think I really love the diversity of opinions in the room, the diversity of people in the room. And I think it was it was the first placemaking week. We had the placemaking weekend before that. So yeah, it was a good success, and just in terms of connecting with the community as a whole.
Awesome. And you know what? While I was looking the photos of you guys and the group photos, basically, I just felt like I'm a part of it. You know, the global placemaking community. I was so happy to see you all guys, and I was just considering myself that I'm a part of it. Maybe I'm not there. Of course, I'm not there, but still, I'm a part of it. So it was a great deal for me. So I'm so happy to know that it was a great success. Okay. So now something about you. What you are a founder of you are the founder of the Urban Vision and the co-founder of PlaceXplore. So tell us about that. How did you find both of these, and what are the visions about it or the long-term goals about it?
The urban vision, I found it almost a few years after graduating from architecture school, and it has had its own iterations and pivots. Initially, when I started it, it was just to um, just to highlight ideas of urbanization that can work for you and your country, right? Like solutions for urbanization. And then, we started with some action projects around housing, public spaces, and in a way, placemaking movement came out of it. And the other goal we had was to essentially, you know, engage with leadership within business, politics, government, to think about some of these agendas. So our forums, our advocacy was in a way to enable public dialogue on policy choices around the agenda of livable and inclusive cities. So the urban vision is structured as a think to tank. We have a series of annual programming. We do a lot of webinars and advocacy around the agenda of livable and inclusive cities. We do work on specific projects around these agendas as well, almost like an action um, research project. Um, and we hope to scale that up. And I think the next decade for me would be about, scaling some of those initiatives and making this into an institution. PlaceXplore is relatively new. It's something that happened during the pandemic. It started very organically because my family has hospitality businesses, and I saw how the pandemic really tore through the rural communities. And tourism is often the bedrock of uh, you know some of the rural communities. And PlaceXplore started as a community-based tourism lab. We were training and enabling locals of such immense knowledge of place, and there's just such richness and diversity of food and culture and art in any of our places. And PlaceXplore was essentially to empower them with training and to enable them to create more experiential products out of their traditional knowledge and way of life. Um, so with PlaceXplore app and the tech platform, what we're essentially doing is curating all the things to do you can, in your community. And I think the things that you do within your communities, the activities in your communities, is what makes the place. Um, So PlaceXplore has ended up now being a tech startup because during the pandemic, after the training, we said we have to invest in connecting these amazing, micro entrepreneurs who have such rich knowledge of the place, and they are what makes this place special. It's not just the physical infrastructure, right? This is the software of the place. It's the creative capital of a place, and PlaceXplore empowers and enables local creative entrepreneurs who are really place ambassadors. And in a world where, like everything else, our economy is cookie cutter, where you can't say, one place against the other. Um, it's important to enable these local, uh, you know, entrepreneurs who are showcasing the place. And I think some of the most successful destinations today are, made in local, they're authentic, they have authentic food cultures, they have amazing art and, creative economy and culture. And in a way, PlaceXplore enables that for the um, activities and things to do in your community, uh, entrepreneurs.
Also, yeah, it's very great to know about it because I was interested in knowing because I just read about it a little bit, but I wanted to know it in detail. And it's great work. You are doing great job. And you know what? While there was COVID, was very adamant about it. I was thinking that tourism plays a huge role because it's going to help us come back to the community to connecting to the people around the globe as well. And then, of course, the financial or the economy of the country can improve with the tourism. And of course, the hope was actually in the tourism. Like people were not able to go
Yeah.
out or to the for vacations or everything because it was something that we looked after, we missed most in during the COVID. So yeah, this is what I have been thinking about as well. But the points that you have mentioned about the entrepreneurs, that's amazing because I didn't think about it in that detail. I just had in mind because we have been helping the people in our northern areas that were truly dependent on the tourism, and there was no hope for them during the COVID. So it was a good lesson for me. So I'm going to think about it as well. Thank you so much for sharing it. And I guess you have answered the question that I wanted to ask next, which is what are you guys doing about the tourism industry in India, or the placemakers? What are their impact or what are their contribution in it? And your interest in the ecotourism, how did that happen? So if you want to add anything else to it, you can, or we can move to the next question as well.
No, I think the tourism economy, well, it's a big part of our GDP, and there's a need to make it more responsible and inclusive. And placemaking enables a way to engage with the local communities and, showcase local culture and arts. And I think it's very, very important that um, the placemaking community participates in that economy as well. How we can really add to making tourism more responsible and inclusive. And I hope that we can see the placemaking community engage with the tourism ecosystem.
Yes, I agree to that. And also there's, I think that through tourism industry, or like say people who are expert in about the places, they know about the places and they can take, like we have been doing some charity works with the tourism agencies that are in here in Pakistan or in Lahore. Like they have been taking things to the donations to the underdeveloped areas in northern areas, like where it wasn't easy to go. So the ones that are adventurous people just tend to help those people, and they took the part. So it was amazing to look that kind of placemaking here. So I really love that part of it. Okay, so what I would like to ask you that How do you consider the connection among public spaces, real estate, and placemaking? How does improvement in one affects the other and the economy of the country overall?
Urbanization, in a way, is a physical counterpart to um, economic development. And in many developing world cities, including India, we've had economic development. We're growing at 8 to 10%, or we have. Um, but that hasn't necessarily translated to a better quality of life for all of us. So I think the connection of placemaking and thinking about the commons, the public spaces, um, the community assets, whether that's mobility, metro stations, the spaces outside the metro station, the footpaths. If we can think more sensitively in terms of delivering that infrastructure, um, you in a way create a more wholesome, inclusive, um, safe city. And I think placemaking and making the agenda of people-centric development uh, is so is so crucial to achieving some of the goals that we want to as a community, whether that is linked to health, uh, uh, well-being, um, the social objectives around education and quality of life and all of that, right? So I think placemaking, in a way, is a good approach to create people-centric urban development. Otherwise, we will have development of cities, but maybe they're not great places to live in. One of the great architects of India, Charles Correa, once said that Mumbai is a great city, but a terrible place. And that can be applied to many, many developing world cities, including the big cities of India. And I think we need to start focusing on building healthy, sustainable, inclusive urban commons. And not just focus on the GDP numbers, because they are meaningless if we can't, you know, as an outcome of that GDP growth, make life better for everyone in our city.
Yes, I truly agree to that. And this is something that I have been focusing on very much recently because I see that people are investing into things that, yes, they might be beneficial for the GDP, but they are not going to be beneficial for the people who are going to run the systems that are going to benefit the GDP in the longer run. If people are not healthy, then they are not going to work efficiently, and this is going to be the decline. So this is what I have the reason why I started the placemaking in Pakistan or in Lahore essentially was the reason that I wanted my city and especially my people to be healthy, to be at peace, to be living their life and thriving in it, not just surviving. Like I advocate for mental health and also for the public spaces. And this is one of the reasons why it's Peacemakers Pakistan, because it is about people, not just cities or public spaces. It's about people. Okay, so last question would be that what were your challenges or what are your challenges personally due to patriarchy? Would you like to share about that? Anything?
I was just thinking about this earlier this month, like a couple of weeks ago, because somebody, one of my journalist friends, asked me to write about a women-friendly city and how do you kind of reimagine the city of Mumbai to becoming more women-friendly. And we've done some work around that. Uh, I have to say that personally, I almost felt that I grew up in the post-feminist era because I grew up in an environment and a household where um, I did not see a discrimination uh, personally, but I don't think I mean, I don't think that that means that the rest of the community did not face some of those issues. I Growing up in Bangalore, which was in the millennium, in the new millennium, I went to architecture school uh, in 2000s. Where when Bangalore was the fastest growing city in the world, with all the new like tech businesses there. Um, and it was sprouting all these educational institutions. So I personally did not face discrimination at that stage in my life. But I mean, I think I recognize that in the subcontinent, many centuries, the time zones of many centuries live literally in one same community. And in some of my early works as a journalist, when I, you know, interview and meet with local community members, I know that their entire life decision is made on where they live, and their entire days were planned around access to mobility or toilets. So I've been deeply aware and uh, grateful for my privilege. Um, I think having post COVID, having come back to the village and setting up the community based tourism lab was so eye opening, because some of the women who came to our training program had to take permissions from their spouses or fathers or siblings um, to come to training. And I mean, I was, I could see the patriarchy there, right? Like just to go to school or learn. Uh, so many of the women around us are not um, free enough even to do that. Um, but yeah, I think I am grateful, and I am aware of my privilege to be able to do whatever I want to, be wherever I want to, and but I understand that it's not a collective experience. And I think for me, in the policy work that I do around urban planning and other agendas, I think uh, a lot of our work that we do as placemakers, urban planners, can really make an impact on our communities. Because patriarchy comes from social values, and it'll require huge amounts of changes in economic structures and education to really change the value systems. But our infrastructure and design of our public realm and our community assets can make some of those changes happen.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree to this, and glad that you didn't face anything personally. But yes, I have seen around me things happen as well, because this is the reason why our cities are not safe. Our communities are not safe, and I say the patriarchy is one of the reason behind it, because there is no balance or equilibrium between men and women. So that's one of the reasons why there is a lot of challenges being faced by men and women both in different ways. So this is something that I like to study as well. So we are done with the questions that were exclusive to you. Now I'm just going towards the rapid fire questions that I asked all, just to know more about you. Okay. So what drives you, Prathima, and what keeps you focused on public spaces, on urban planning, and the cities and everything that you do?
I just follow my heart. I think it's just driven by deep interest in this space, and I love public spaces as everyone else does. That's where I go to on vacations, and allow to enable building more of it.
That's great. That was direct and like, it was a wholeheartedly answered question, I guess. Any would you like to share any memory or any moment that you felt proud of the work you are doing? Like, was there many moment of wow, this is great work I'm doing. I'm doing a meaningful work.
I think the moments that I feel most proud of my work is when when I see people using it and, hanging out in it. And any little placemaking intervention that I do, I always ask my team, how are people using those spaces and is it successful in that way? Are people hanging out there more, walking around there more? Yeah, from in terms of placemaking projects, I love to see how people use it.
Yeah, there's a very blissful feeling to that. Okay, so any hard moment of or the struggling moment of your work life till now that you would like to share or talk about?
I think placemaking can sometimes be challenging when you're trying to negotiate with stakeholders who don't see eye to eye, and um, I think when you work on the in the urban space, it's also a skill that you develop over time to get people to negotiate and uh, people who are not often common partners to get together. I think it's a good way to connect people who usually would not agree with each other.
Yeah, that's a struggling part indeed, especially when you know that you're trying to help them and they are like, uh, they are being defensive or something like that, and it's quite frustrating at times. Okay, so would you like to share any favorite taste-making mantra or any mantra that you love to repeat to yourself?
Placemaking mantra. Oh my God. Okay, that's very hard. I didn't, I'm, mm,
Could be anything.
there's a famous quote by Jane Jacobs, which says cities have the capability of providing something for everybody only because and only when they're created by everybody. So I think I've been like very interested in this word called radical collaboration over the last couple of years. I think I heard it during the pandemic, and I think it's really fun and um, interesting to bring very diverse set of people together to build something, and that could be place as well because I I do think there's so much perspective and learning that happens when very diverse set of people come together to build something. And I think cities have to be built by diverse set of people, not just experts, but communities and artists and citizens um, and I think
Yeah,
that's how places become whole, and uh, we should enable that.
great. Yeah, I agree. Okay, and would you like to share anything about the placemaking in Pakistan? Do you have any opinion about it?
I think Pakistan, like the subcontinent, is so vibrant and rich, and I think historically and traditionally we built such authentic places, full of um, sensory stimuli. I mean, you walked. I can only imagine what it must be to walk around, Lahore and Karachi. But I'm sure there'll be amazing smells of local food,
Yeah.
um, and sounds of the local musicians and artists, and the imagery that I've seen uh, coming out of Pakistan evokes some of those feelings in me.
Yeah, and I hope and I wish that you can experience it uh, while being here as well, like live experience. I hope that you do someday.
Yes, I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to come.
Great.
I'd love to come, and I want to invite you to come to India as well.
Yeah, sure. I would love to host you. And I would love to be there as well someday, inshallah. Okay. So, last question, is there any message that you would like to give to the global leaders out there? Like many young professionals are joining in.
I love the name of your podcast, Making It Happen, and I think it's time to make it happen. I think
Yeah.
the time of thinking and procrastinating about these agendas are over. I think we need to make things happen towards
Yeah.
more healthy, inclusive, sustainable places.
Yeah. Great. It was lovely talking to you, Prathima. Thank you so much for your time and thank you so much for being so open and honest about it. And I would like to say something at the end, which is you have a lovely smile. Every time you smile during this conversation, you made me smile, and I wish you all the best for your visions and for your goals in life. And I would love to see and talk to you more in the future. So thank you so much for your time and for being here on my show. Uh, Good luck for your time. Good luck for your future.
Thank you so much. It was so lovely chatting with you as well. And I was really, really looking forward to this. And I hope we can meet in person in
Mm.
some of our favorite places in Pakistan and India and,
Yeah, sure.
learn more about each other and appreciate all the commonalities that we surely have together.
Yeah. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Thank you,
Okay, so
Asma.
thank you. Take
And
care and
congratulations on this. Yeah, and congratulations on this podcast. It seems amazing. I'm actually going to run through some of the old episodes as well.
thank you. I'm glad that you did. And thank you so much for appreciating it. I hope that it adds some values to some value to the placemaking movement and to the community that we are part of. Thank you so much and take care. Bye bye.
Great. Thank you so much. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.